Wheel Wednesday. Let's see. You have any questions? This is a good time to start throwing them in.
Yeah.
This way we can get a little log going. So if you have questions, let's do that. Let's see. This Friday's piece of content has to do with
Tire wear.
Yeah, it's basically like things that you should be able to spot on your tires that may be kind of relinquishing or showing you there may be some issues. So we go through that. Podcast is today, right?
Yes.
Today we talk about cars that should exist that do not. So I think they're talking about some concept cars. I think they're talking about, just maybe some engine platforms that should be in cars that maybe aren't. Stuff like that. So it might be a good listen. Make sure you check it out. You could also get your podcast needs met at most other popular podcast providers.
Question: has there ever been a concept car that you could remember that you wanted made but never actually made it to the floor?
Look, I think basically every render that's ever been done by somebody that's not part of the OEs, for nostalgic cars, right? Like they've done a lot of good ones with, some of the R36s and stuff like that. So.
I get you. All right. You ready for some questions?
We already got questions?
We got some. Nothing crazy.
I understand.
Okay, so 19-inch, 5 and 4.5.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have any options?
Yep.
Simple.
I don't know. There's not a lot of information in that question, so the answer to that
is absolutely. Yeah. Jen Bunny F32 says, "Hey, what's up? What's up? Here's an up. Yep. If I wanted to get sponsored, what do I do? My season's starting up in April. Let me know. What's up?"
Drifting?
I'm assuming.
Feels like just whatever. Look, as far as that stuff goes, I mean, obviously, there's a lot of different things we say about sponsorship. If you are competing in, obviously, like a Pro Spec or Pro Am or some other race series, you feel free to drop us a DM and we'll try to tell you kind of who you should contact and things.
Scott, congrats on your TME. What's up with them wheels, though? I want them.
Oh, yeah. Thanks.
Is that a thing? What are we doing with that, man? Is this just a specialty?
Well, here's the thing. I had them powder coated and primarily
there you go.
Because of the fact that the TMEs would have come with a white wheel from the factory, right? Mm-hmm. So I wanted to kind of replicate that. Obviously, I was going to use our wheels, so that's what I did. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Give me a second.
Thanks.
Are we getting any other options on aero discs for other cars? Asking for a friend.
Well, so the aero disc is not about other cars. The aero disc is about other wheels.
That's what I think. That's what they meant.
Okay. So basically, right now we don't have any plans to have any other aero covers for a different wheel. It's not something that could retrofit. You can't really do a retrofit. There are some companies that are doing these kits where they machine like these adapters, almost like hovering adapters that basically go in from behind the wheel that allow something to attach to. But it becomes a little bit specific because if you have a tall hub or something like that, it may not work. So, But no, we don't have any plans right now to do that.
Got some hexaforms in my whip. Are we getting any other colors or finishes?
In the hexaform or at all?
I think in the hexaform they mean.
Yeah, I don't know about the hexaform. That's going to be kind of one of those tough ones. It's like, whenever you add, part numbers, you're basically saying whenever you add, finishes, you're basically saying should we add a whole bunch more part numbers for a specific wheel? So that's like one of those things.
Nick said, and that was the answer to he was responding to the renderings. He said, I'm assuming it says Nismo IDX. Does that mean something? No?
I'm trying to remember. I don't know if I know it off the top of my head like that. Probably if I saw it.
There you go. See?
Yeah.
Decagram arrow discs. Yes, please.
Yeah, I hear you. It's not retrofitting an aero disc would be a totally different thing. It would have to, it's got to be very specific. I mean, look, there's plenty of, I've seen aero covers or aero discs or whatever you want to call them, that they've created this basically flimsy plastic shell.
Mm-hmm.
They go out past the face of the wheel.
Mm-hmm.
They create some ridiculous dimples or something. But the plastic material is like something that you would get like from a plastic plate from like Carvel. You know what I mean? Like it's just not it's not substantial. Our disc, our cover was made to be something that was far more spectacular than that, right? It was a much harder, higher temp plastic, ABS plastic. It had some veining in the back. It was very specific to the wheel to be able to keep that same type of profile visible. It had an interlinking cap that would secure it and structure so that it couldn't be crushed. You can't just do that in general terms and throw it on any wheel, right? You have to make every face profile match up with the disc to make sure that it has like our aero cover has tabs on it, so it doesn't rotate. It has these rubber pads so that they don't scratch the face of the wheel as long as you install it correctly. So it is a little bit different if you start to get into just saying, well, let's just come up with a disc, right?
Yeah. Scott, the Evo looks sick. Love the
Nice.
wheel color choice. It's like,
No, the white, it's just very TME, right? You know what I mean? It just feels TME. But thank you. Yeah, it's been fun. I've had the car for a while now. I got some stuff that we're gonna be doing. I think we're gonna try to show you guys some of the stuff that that I'm putting on. I mean, I'm not gonna go crazy with the car because if I wanted a car to go crazy with, I wouldn't have bought a TME.
1,000%.
I would have just bought a 5 or something like that. And I probably would have found something that had an engine that was high miles, like whatever, if I was going to redo something. So yeah, I mean, I think we're going to improve upon the TME for sure. We're going to continue to freshen for sure. I don't know that this is going to be ultimately the car that we're swapping turbos with, different things like that. But I have some other projects that we may end up doing stuff like that too, so we'll see.
Make Hypergram 1811 in bronze with a little sad face.
Hypergram 11. We didn't do bronze. Oh, 18 by 11. Oh, yeah, I don't think we did 18 by 11. I know we did black.
For some reason in my mind,
I know we did black.
that.
I know we did gray.
Okay, that's what it. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. You're right. I don't know if we did do bronze. But what about the heliogram? That's in bronze.
Yeah.
That's 12. 10 and a half or 12.
12. It does come in a 12. I just don't know.
10. Some of the 10 and 10 and a half. I mean, you're so close.
Yeah.
You're talking about millimeters.
1812 is the nuts size.
Yeah. But like when you start talking about the difference between 18, 10 and a half at like, let's say an 18 or something like that versus, an 18 by 11 and a 15, I mean, you're talking about 6, 7 millimeters, 8 millimeters. So like, I mean, you're talking about less than half. I mean, you're this difference. I don't know.
Have you seen the the Aries or the MRK1 on Ionic 5s? Sorry, I know EV stuff ain't your primary market.
Well, but look, it's a car.
Yeah,
I don't.
Our market is car.
Yeah, I agree with that. The only time you ever have to worry about the EV segmentation is when the weight of the car gets astronomically out of whack.
Right.
The Aris, I believe, for that car should be no problem. Same with the Mark 1. Have I seen them? I know I've seen them on some of the newer Hyundai-looking cars. I can't tell you if it's 100% an Ioniq 5, but I think it's going to be a good look. I really do. We do a lot of Hyundai stuff. Sorry, my shoulder's killing me.
As they were talking about the hyperspec in white, so maybe we'll see the white on those wheels soon.
Oh, you mean like would we be offering the hyperspec in white? I don't know.
I've known Scott long enough, and if the demand is there, he'll make them. So
yeah, I mean, the problem is like all right. So we have a couple people that are asking for them. Until we get that feeling of there's a lot of people that seem to be like, it's hard because then the first question that goes to my mind is, all right, well, which part number?
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Because we're gonna make them all in white.
Yep.
We don't know if there's a demand for it. Like you're one person, the other person. I guarantee you, if there's 2 people that ask me about this wheel in white and say, hey, come on, guarantee they're gonna be completely different part numbers.
Like when we go live? What's a good number of people that you would want? What's a number of people that you would want to see or hear that are requesting the hyperspec in white?
Oh, I don't know. I think it would have to just be one of those
If
things.
20
right?
people wrote on the live,
And they all had the same size, absolutely will make it.
hey man, what size and wheel would you put on a 2007 Subaru Cross Sport Forester SG9 if I'm looking for a lowered flush look?
Say that one more time. I want to think about that for a second.
Hey man, what
You put
size and
2000,
wheel
right.
would you put on a 2007 Subaru Cross Sport Forester
Right.
SG9 if I'm looking for a lowered flush look? The funny thing is, right underneath CLT FB6, the homie wrote 18.8.5 ET35 or higher on the
Yeah. The
Forester.
problem I have with that car is in 2007, you weren't going to be given a huge overall tire diameter, which means that if you go too large on that car, the tire is going to look short and the wheel's going to look out of place.
Yeah.
I can see what Brian's saying. I think in this circumstance,
Is that Brian? Oh,
I thought so,
oh
right?
it is Brian. You're right.
I think in that circumstance, you may want to consider doing like a 17 by 8.
Yeah.
If you're really looking to push the envelope a little bit as far as the outbound appearance, maybe 17 by 500. I don't know if we made it in 500, but maybe a 17 by 9 if we make it in 500. The problem that you run into is, is that you're going to be right in that issue of it's going to really depend how you set up your car, and exactly kind of how you set up your suspension.
Yeah. They wrote right underneath, and I feel like, what type style of wheel as well? What do we got for that?
So I don't know if it's what we got. What I would suggest if you're looking for that is probably to do something that's face forward. I think that will make your car look how I envision you are describing you want the car to look.
Right. Right.
My rotator cuff is killing me.
What's an aero cover? Oh, when's an aero cover for the decograms coming?
Yeah, I mean, a couple people have just asked that. Like I said, it
goes
gets
from
difficult to go
one-
back and retrofit. Yeah.
Okay. 1810.5 just doesn't have an offset I can run like the 11 has.
Okay.
Oh, that was
what do you? So 18 by 10 and a half has. I know we do some in 18, right? So now you're talking about half an inch and 3 millimeters. So it's like, 11 to 10 and a half. So you get 6 millimeters on the outside. I think you're talking about 3 millimeters. An offset difference, 9 millimeters. I don't know. It depends. What car do you have?
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
16.7 4 lug, 35 offset. I'm assuming they're looking for wheels
Well,
in
if
that
you're
size.
looking for them, we 16 by 7 or 16.7 and a half.
It says 16.7.
Yeah, 16.7 we're a little limited on. We have a few things like, I think oversteers and stuff like that. But may have a heliogram if I remember correctly. But yeah, 16.7 and a half maybe if you have the ability to do so.
Blue Bee says, "Hey boys,
What up?
is there a particular brake caliber that you consider difficult to design clearance for?" Nice, good question.
That is a good question. I think the answer to that is yes, but I think it depends on when we have to start narrowing it in, like for size wise, right? If you're talking about a car that has like a smaller wheel, let's say like a 17 by 9, I think like an Evo 8 caliper is a tough one. It's a caliper that protrudes like almost right off the bat really far down low. So you have that, issue that usually happens on the clipping at the bottom of the corner of the caliper. Then I also think, then you have to start thinking about like, well, as brakes get bigger, how do they get really tall? I think, for example, you may want to do, one of the AMG Mercedes cars or a BMW competition pack. Those brakes, they're not only fairly decently sized in the front, but they're tall. So you kind of got to battle where that clearance is up at the top. It becomes wheel specific, right? Like a face forward wheel is going to be easier to clear with that, whereas if you do something with a lift, now you're really impacting the space where that caliper needs to sit. But then, there's cars in the rear that become one of those things if you're going to do something where you want to put some concavity into a rear wheel, right? I think about like the Mustang, the Brembo rear pack on some of the GT performance pack cars. That rear brake is, I think it's even larger than the front brake that they put on, ironically. So it's just some of that stuff, you know what I mean?
Perfect. All right.
Yeah.
Best wheels for a Honda Civic 2013 and size.
Best wheels for Civic 2013. Look, this is personal preference, and this becomes the difficult part, right? Because, like, I can tell you if something will look good or if it will fit, but I can't tell you what your preference is. I mean, I think depending on what your build is, I can easily see people doing stuff like, 18.8. What year was the car again?
2013.
Yeah, I mean, so I could see you doing something where, you're doing like an, 18, 8.5, 42 offset, 43 offset, Mark 1. I can see, somebody easily doing something where they want to do something a little bit more like a hypergram, 18, 8.5. Or, if you want to go a little smaller, get a little bit more meaty tire on there, you could do, a 17.8. You have so many options for that car.
We got my man Brian flexing over here on the Forester. And the reason I say this is on my 2005 LGT wagon, I ran 18.5, 35 offset, and the front stuck out a lot, but the rear was flush.
Yeah, so that's the problem, right? Like the problem is that when you start getting into those cars that aren't staggered and you have to basically accommodate one or the other, you find yourself at that kind of like, how do I massage this wheel to fit? 18.5 on that car, obviously even at a 35 is just, it's too much wheel to fit. But I understand how it looks in the rear. So you kind of gotta just figure out what your goals are and kind of either massage it in and split it, or kind of take the road that bolts on and just get your car. Now, if he's talking about some sort of more of a slightly flush stance fitment, you probably can go narrower anyway. So I wouldn't worry about the 9.5. You might want to be in that 8.5 range and stuff like that to make sure you're in a higher offset to be able to get the thing down.
And then Brian said, I think the Ampliform, Hypergram, or even the new Forge F6SX would look killer on the SG platform.
Yeah. Yeah, I see that.
Then Brian also said, Brian got to come in there off. Then he said, for the 2013 Civic, 17.9 40 offset, or 17.8 35 offset, that's his platform.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that, I think Brian's kind of backing up what we were saying before about when you pick the sizes, right? If you're going to go in there and you're going to do something in an 18-inch, I think that, it's not that the car won't support it, it will. It just, I feel like you lose that ability to have a tire that actually still looks appropriate on the car. So I think 17 kind of becomes my preference as well.
Perfect. I have a 350Z trying to run square aggressive fitment. The 1811 is a 15 offset, and the 10.5 is a 25 offset, which won't clear the Brembos without a decent spacer. The 11,
No. Stop. My guy, I hear what you're saying, but you're using general information and rather than factual information. So let's talk about this for a second. A Hypergram 1810.5 out of 25 absolutely clears the Brembos in the front of the car. So there's that. I know because I have one.
Yeah.
Second thing is, if you're going to be trying to run an 11 out of 15, the amount of millimeters that you're going to have versus a 10.5 at, let's say, an 18 or whatever it's going to be, the space that you're going to have is only going to be on one side. It's going to basically, you split whatever the difference is equally, right? So you go up a ½ inch. You're talking about virtually just a few millimeters on the pad where the brake would actually have impacts. The second thing is, if you're going to try to put an 11 in the front of that car, I know what people are going to say, oh, it fits, I fit it, but here's the problem with it. The problem is that you have to stretch the tire, camber the wheel, it still is going to stick out, it's not going to be a great handling car. Look, the advantage to putting a Z on a squared fitment is the fact that if you have, obviously, a decent tire size, you gain the ability to take away some of the oversteer, right? And that allows you really to lean harder into turns without feeling like the rear wants to wrap around on you. So, look, you have two choices in my opinion. Either one, stagger the damn thing, which you don't want to do. You just said that. Do I think you can get away with a 10.5 and a 25 square? if you make the front work, but the front is going to be super aggressive by about an inch. Now, an inch is this much. It looks a lot more when it's hanging outside of your fender. But you know, I mean, there's ways around it. Where I run into a problem with those cars, and again I have one. When you start to short the tire in the front to be able to make it look, it doesn't look attractive because from the side of the car, it looks like the front tire is shorter than the rear. Well, because it is. I think that car takes a lot of wheel. I think you have a lot of options. I guess I'm just trying to advocate for a good wheel fitment for you, my man. But you do not need to go to an 11. I think people are overly conditioned. Even if it's I mean, I'm sure you have Brembos, right? You probably have the track Brembos or whatever it is. And if that's the case, it does clear those Brembos. If you have a much larger big brake kit, then we should check for you.
Rant, this is responding to something. Yeah, I hear you. Evos usually have 4-piston front calipers, while the rear is a 2-piston, so 17-inch wheels are a tough choice to find without spacers.
Yeah, it's not the pistons, though. I think people get really hung up on piston number, right? You know, you could theoretically have a brake that's the same size as a 4-piston brake and have a 6-piston brake, and it doesn't necessarily change the outer package of that caliper. I think with the Evo, the brake itself isn't so large that it really throws everything off. I think the problem is that brake initiates so far down low. Like, in other words, if that car had a maybe slightly larger rotor and the brake, you know, the friction material on the rotor actually was up another 10 millimeters, I think you'd have a lot more wheels that would clear it. So I just think it's where the caliper sits in this situation, and the caliper is not small. So there's that.
The homie with the 350C said, well, thank you for proving me wrong.
No. I wasn't trying to prove you wrong, my man. I appreciate you. It's just that, you know what it is? It's hard, right? There's so many different manufacturers, and there's so many different wheels, and there's so many different, you know, kind of opinions on the internet of people telling, you know, others, you have to do this, or I have to do this. I mean, look, the truth is, if a guy has an RPF 1 and it doesn't clear, just because it's the same size as maybe a Konig wheel or a Konig hypergram, that doesn't mean they're going to have the same outcomes. Spoke profile, you know, the development of the wheel, the design of the wheel, that stuff all is a factor. And that's one of the reasons that not all wheels are created equal, right? You have to pick and choose kind of the pros and cons of certain things, and that's why it really does help to have a company that you know you can make a phone call to or send a message to, and they're going to give you some real feedback, because they'll be able to help you walk through your fitment things and find the right wheel for your car.
Perfect. All right. Oscar asks, what's your favorite wheel for the Mazda MX-5 MK2?
Can you give me a size? Because I think I'd be more inclined to give you an honest answer, even from my personal opinion.
But the CRX I'm working on for a customer has a set, because I made them buy hypergrams.
Oh, well, first off, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That sentence was a weird one for me to read.
Okay.
Okay. Can you do special graphite that comes on Ampliforms 18 or 19 10.5?
I mean, the wheel already comes in a gloss anthracite right now, so I would say it's a pretty good looking finish.
Yeah.
Has a lot of metallic in it. It's pretty deep.
And that's it, man.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
If you have any other questions, throw them in right now, because if you don't, I'm going to go back to work and start making some wheels or something. Aside from that, don't forget, Friday, piece of content. We have our regular YouTube content that goes up. If you're not subscribed and have that notification bell on, and you wouldn't mind doing it, man, would that sure be a really nice thing for you to do over on YouTube. We're putting up a lot more content. We obviously have some shop space. If you haven't seen the video of the dedicated shop space that we have, you can go over there to our YouTube channel and check that out. You can also see, if you didn't know, I have an Evo TME, an Evo 6 TME, and we started a little bit on that. So we'll be having a follow-up, I think, to that probably in a few weeks. So you want to get subscribed? That's cool. Podcast today. It's about tire issues, things that you could.
No, that's not the podcast.
Friday's content is about the tire issues, and that's going to basically be some things you can spot on your tires to basically determine if you have some things that may not be jiving with your wheel setup. In addition to that, we also have the podcast, which we're going to be today. They're talking about cars that don't exist but should have. So
You want a few questions before we leave?
Yeah, I could do something.
Okay, that's easy ones.
Yeah.
What wheels would you buy? What wheels would you boys slap on a E46?
E46. I think you have a lot of choices.
Oh yeah.
Right now I think, what would be, if it's me, I probably end up doing like depending on how your car's set up.
Yeah.
We have a couple forged wheel options like either the F5R or what should we call it, or the
F6.
No, I like the F3S.
F3S.
But even the F1M, I think that mesh wheel looks really, really good. So that's my opinion. Look, there's a lot of wheel choices. Head on in to our website there and maybe check out what floats your boat.
There's also SUP. I have Ampliforms in bronze.
Thank you. Well, I'll take that. I appreciate it. That's awesome. Thanks, sir. Make sure you send pictures if you haven't. We'd like to see them.
So the homie that had asked about the Ampliforms he said the Ampliforms only come in bronze in the 1910.5.
Oh, now they do. I think we recently discontinued that part number. But there may still be some there. Are you sure about that? I feel like there may be still some there.
Yeah.
Check Tire Rack.
All-wheel drive Bernies in the new shop.
That's not going to happen.
Why not?
Well, because here's the thing.
What about at the front?
At the end of the day, I have this thing with diffs. I like them, and I would like to not have to buy another one, especially if you look at how much money I've spent on parts for this car, sourcing them from all over the place because they just don't make a lot of things. Now, diffs they do make. I just would like to not roast mine.
Yeah.
But I like the idea you're going behind, and if it was a built car, I think I'd probably go full send on it. But yeah.
See you around. Stay warm. I don't know if it's even warm out there.
It's not cold. It's not warm.
It's depressing,
but it's
guys.
not. It's been better. It's been in the 30s, and I can deal with the 30s.
Yeah, literally, when it was the 40s, I went outside without a jacket. I was just like,
well, and the hard part is I haven't been wearing a jacket. I've been wearing a sweatshirt. But the truth is, we had some days where it was negative 2, and that's cold. That's cold. Yeah.
I'm gonna say this one just because I like it.
Okay.
Yeah, you're awesome. Whoa. I've prayed for a beautiful day. There you go. That's what we end this one.
I prayed for a beautiful day for you too, my friends. All right, that's it. I'm going to be getting out of here. Don't forget, we do this whole thing every Wednesday, 2 p.m. Eastern. Go live. We answer your questions, all that good stuff. Don't forget to get subscribed to our YouTube channel if you're not already, and click that notification bell. It is going to be something that will let you see when we're coming out with some of the car content we're coming out with. And it really would mean a lot to us if you don't mind doing that. If you also could spread the word, man, that would be sick. So anyhow, take care of yourself. We'll catch you back here next week.
Peace.